professor of quite a distinction, teaching at a couple of places, Montclair and Rutgers as well, advising Greg Schiano on how he can cover a couple of point spreads, and also performing on Scripps TV. Welcome back to the show. Well, one of our favorite and a member of the Degenerate Brethren, one of our favorites, the great Len Robbins joins us here on the program. Len, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. You got the intro wrong a little. It's not Rutgers, it's Rikers.
Well, appropriate, I guess, especially with what's going on in the world today.
The time!
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Very pleasant. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Halloween edition of the Defo Show, where Lubie and I are disguised as sportscasters, and happy to have you guys. Are we even pulling off the costume? Well, I don't know. We're happy to have you guys with us. So hope everybody has a great day today, and looks like it's going to be another nice, little breezy out there of late. Lubie, have you been out?
It's been nice. Windy as hell yesterday.
Not a great day for a hairpiece yesterday. Bad day for a piece, as we like to call it, but very pleasant. The walk of life was great, and enjoy it while you can, people, because we certainly deserve this after the long, hot summer, which was insufferable in many different ways. But we made it through, and now, you get so beaten down by the incessant and relentless heat.
Yes.
That you don't even realize that it's okay to go outside now. You don't have to think about starting the car an hour in advance and letting the air conditioning run. You can just kind of go about your business in a normal fashion. So it's great. We have that for the next several months, and no threat of hurricanes. At least we hope, right? Is there still a chance one could come our way? I don't think so. So all good, and give out the candy tonight. I'm lucky. There are like 2 kids that live in the whole complex here, and I'm not answering the door for either of them. So. That'll be a free pass for me. That's been the case for a long time. I used to get some trick-or-treaters at the old Deef Mansion, and I actually tried. I mean, is this pay? Yeah, you could do this here. I don't know if you could have gotten away with it in New York City, where I was doing my the majority of my trick-or-treating was done in Brooklyn in the apartment buildings there, and that made life easy because you could hit like 50 places and then just run up the stairs to the next floor.
Yep.
And it was great. And there were several buildings, and we'd come back with massive amounts of candy and all kinds of different stuff, only to have it robbed. Yeah, that was the big thing, right? Little kids would go out, collect all the candy, and then kids that were slightly bigger would beat the shit out of them and rob their candy. That was Halloween for me, so I was never a huge fan of Halloween. I liked it, but at the same time, I could be perfectly fine living without it.
It was a day of fear.
It was a day of inevitability. I mean, you realize that you were going to get the fuck beaten out of you. If you had a big shopping bag full of candy, and then there were the tricksters, of course, people that would put like a scoop of ice cream in the bag so that it would eventually melt a hole in the bottom of the bag there, and everything would fall out. People would put pennies in there, all kinds of crazy shit. The big thing was if a woman was making candy apples. I remember one woman was known for making candy apples. Now, you would never take one today, right?
Oh, you're not. Your parents would freak out. Yeah.
Would you accept anything that wasn't wrapped?
Oh, no. What do you mean? Even half the time if it's wrapped, if they see like a little edge crinkled, parents fucking freak out now.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, is it worth continuing this tradition? If Trump was going to run on a ticket where he would abolish trick-or-treating on Halloween, I might vote for him.
I can see it.
DeSantis wants to abolish everything that has to do with the enhancement of the enjoyment of children. Anyway, Dodger World Series last night. We're going to attempt a doubleheader here, as Dave Gurggles Gergely is going to join us in about a minute, and then we're also going to feature Tony Segreto, old school with Tony Segreto. We had to move things around a little bit to accommodate Tony's schedule, but also to accommodate the schedule of one Bucky fucking Dent.
Yeah.
Who would be very appropriate, although Lubie is speculating that his affiliation and attachment to the Yankees might leave him too depressed.
I don't know. I mean,
to come on the show?
These guys as fans go, they're worse. Like they wore the dang pinstripe. So I'm not saying he will skirt,
I think he's going to come on. Yeah.
I'm just saying it's not as good as it was yesterday for the Yankees.
I mean, the bad news for the Yankee fans, not only did they lose in a series that they could have just as easily had an advantage in, which, I mean, you could always say that, well, if it wasn't for this, if it wasn't for that. They did lose the games, and they lost in 5, and that was perfectly legitimate. But Everybody was screaming about Aaron Boone's moves, managerial blunders in game number 1, which could have gone the Yankees' way. They're up 3-2 going to the 10th. And then last night, they were up 5-0. And it was batting practice. I mean, literally, they were hitting Flaherty like the guys at the end of Casino were teeing off on Joe Pesci in that scene where he died in. How is there a cornfield in Las Vegas, by the way? Did you ever figure that out, Lubie?
Nevada, I don't know about Las Vegas. Las Vegas is city. Nevada is a lot of desert and
cornfields. Yeah.
Land. I don't know if I've seen cornfields.
Never heard of any. Well, you know what? We got that Vegas corn.
It's not Nebraska.
No, I don't know. Wasn't it like a cornfield they killed him in?
It was an empty field. I don't know if there were stalks.
Come on, Scorsese. What are we talking about here? I mean, like some connection to reality. This isn't a Fellini film. What are we doing? But anyway, yeah, they're teeing off on Flaherty. He gets knocked out of the game in the second inning. Everybody's got a home run at that point. Everybody's celebrating. Judge is broken out of it.
Yeah.
And it's a 2-run homer. Jazz Chisholm knocks one out of the park. Stanton later hits a home run. Did Stanton have a home run? Yeah, he did. He got the 5th run on a home run.
He did.
And everything's looking great. I was texting back and forth with a friend of mine who's a big baseball fan. And he says, well, how many games is this going now? And I actually thought, well, this is going 7.
I said 7 from the beginning. Yeah, I mean.
Wow. So that got ugly, and the Yankees end up losing. Dodgers celebrating their World Series championship, and I think they deserved it. And my buddy Dylan celebrating the $90,000 ticket.
Good for him.
Then on top of that, now he's alive to the Ravens Super Bowl for $480,000. How great! Just once in your life, you would like to be in this position. No, that ticket had to be enhanced. I mean, it's a long way for the Ravens to win the Super Bowl at this point, especially after this loss to the Cleveland Browns and your man Jameis Winston last week. But I mean, it's not like it's inconceivable, is it?
I mean,
you would have to put them in a group of what, maybe six teams possible to win the Super Bowl championship this year? Are there more? What do you think?
I'd say 4 or 5.
Who's alive really to win the Super Bowl? Chiefs, certainly, undefeated.
Chiefs, Ravens,
maybe
Bills, I guess, because they've been there before and they still have a good record. Lions, Vikings. I mean, and again, I don't trust the Lions or the Vikings at all, but someone has to be there from the NFC. So
exactly. And who's to say that the NFC isn't overall better than the AFC? We're just seeing inflated records because the AFC teams aren't all that good. But and we have a Thursday night game tonight, Jets and Houston. Very interesting matchup.
Oh, Houston's good too. I just don't know. They're too young. I don't trust them as a Super Bowl.
They've been compromised a little bit. Now, when you were looking over their results so far this year, I mean, they've been very fortunate to be 6-2. Could just as easily be 2-6 based on the results that we've seen. I know the cliche, the good teams find ways to win, but sometimes luck is involved as well, and you'll see that reverse. So we'll see if they come back to the pack. We'll get a better indication of where they're at. They're missing their 2 top wide receivers. Stephon Diggs out for the year, and the other guy, Collins.
He's hurt too. Jesus, oh God.
Yeah, he may be coming back. I'm not sure. I saw conflicting reports on that. Let's put it that way. All right, let's get into the trivia challenge. Here's what we have to do. We have a trivia challenge today. And we also are going to feature Tony and hopefully Bucky Dent joining us here on the show to do a little recap on a World Series. But right now we have the man of the hour, and that would be Mr. Breeders' Cup himself, Dave Gurggles Gergely. He's wearing Breeders' Cup colors and probably has some winners for us. David, how are you?
Doing great. I was hearkening back to the Breeders' Cup Classic of 1993. I was at Calder that day, and they didn't commingle the pools. But I played a 50-cent try, Bertrando, all Kissin' Chris, and all Bertrando Kissin' Chris. And that's when our buddy Jerry Bailey won an Art Kang and paid $269.
Oh, nice.
And the try at Calder paid, I think, maybe $2,000 for 50. At Santa Anita, it paid $8,000. But
wow.
No
and you picked up the 2 dimes?
I did, and a typical horse player would have, could have, should have. I also had all Bertrando Pleasant Tap. Kissin' Chris was 630 to 1. Pleasant Tap finished 4th. He was 73 to 1.
Woo!
But I'll give out during Perdomo. I've got a little.
Have you looked at this already?
First Breeders' Cup race, the Turf Sprint, on tomorrow on the 6th race.
Oh, very good, Dave Gurggles Gergely. We got Jersey Kyle out there with Evan and
nice.
Ira. 3 guys all went out to the Breeders' Cup. I'm sure there are many from South Florida that made that trip. Beautiful time. Have you ever been to Del Mar?
I have not. I would like to go for the golf too, and great golf courses around there.
Beautiful. I mean, look, if you were rethinking your life and you thought, well, geez, maybe I should have thought about living in San Diego, which I had at different times.
California's great.
What a fucking place, man.
It's just beautiful.
It's so amazing. We were out there, I guess, a couple of years ago. I'd been to San Diego many times from my time living in LA, but after a long absence, it was so strikingly beautiful to just hang out there that it didn't even matter. It more than overcame my losses for the trip. After spending 3 days plunging at Del Mar, which was never really my best track in terms of handicapping. I don't have a ton of confidence there. All right, we're going to get into the trivia challenge. You can dial us up, and we'll do a quick version of this because we're going to bring on Tony and Bucky Dent in about 15 minutes or so. So we got the Cliff Notes version of the trivia challenge going here today. Dave's going to be firing off the questions. You can dial us up if you want to play, 954-417-0070. Later on today, Lubie will be with the professor at the Ultimate Live Trivia Competition at Landlubbers. He's got a gift certificate he's giving away to Landlubbers. And so jump on board if you want to play, 954-417-0070. And we'll get it right away started, rolling here with Dave Gurggles Gergely.
Are we ready
Starting
to
the
go?
show in the traditional fashion. With
Right.
in honor of the Paulie Man and some.
Easy baseball.
I forgot my line, Gurggles.
It's okay, not a problem.
All right.
This catcher turned broadcaster on his early baseball career recalled, they said I was such a great prospect. They were sending me to Winter League to sharpen up. When I stepped off the plane, I was in Greenland. Was that the great Bob Uecker, Bob Barker, Fess Parker, or Deshaun Parker?
Roll it, Lubie, the random phone scrambler. And Mike is up first. Mike, you're on the trivia challenge. Hello.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. Hey.
Good morning,
Correct,
Mike.
sir. 1 point, off and running.
All right, Mike, we got the Breeders' Cup. Let's stick with the Breeders' Cup question, true or false. Believe it or not, Astros third baseman Alex Bergman, a lifetime horse race fan, has 2 horses in the Breeders' Cup. One of them named Governor Sam for his dad, who was a district attorney and wanted to be a governor in New Mexico. True or false?
Okay, that's true.
True,
It is
yes.
true.
Yeah, Bregman's done well with his horses.
Yeah, and he's got
got a
another
couple
one totally justified in the juvenile Phillies turf. But
He's,
good luck to him there.
done very well for himself there. All right, 2 for 2, Mike, going for 5.
All right, baseball. And I don't know, when you guys watch this, is it my imagination or during this entire series, did we not see one pinch hitter?
Oh shit!
That could be.
I don't think.
I think the starting lineups went every game without any pinch hitter at all. I think that might be a first. But
Well, we
anyway,
did have the pinch runner that
pinch
Paulie Man
runner, but
pointed
not
out.
pinch hitters.
Well, when they took out Torres and then he couldn't play second base when the Yankees blundered away game number 1 due to an error that occurred between the second baseman and the shortstop, Cabrera was in there. Meaningless pinch runner. Paulie Man was very upset about that.
All right, baseball, your 3-point question. We want to know which player had the first hit in a World Series game as the DH.
Okay.
Was that Dan Dreesen, Tony Perez, Lou Piniella, or Roy White?
Pinella.
Lou.
That's right.
I was gonna say.
All right.
Wow,
In
Wow,
1976, Dan Dreesen
Wow,
came
Mike.
up first as a DH for Cincinnati. Before he could hit, Tony Perez got thrown out stealing, and Piniella doubled the next inning.
Very
Wow,
nice.
Well done.
Back weeks with sweeps.
All right. Gunning for a sweep here. 5-point question.
Wow. Here we go. Horse racing for Breeders' Cup. In the inaugural Breeders' Cup in 1993, which automobile company was the car sponsor on the broadcast?
It's a good question.
Was it American Motors, Ford, Chrysler, or Chevrolet?
Ford.
Ford.
Oh, it was Chrysler.
I was going to say Chrysler, yeah,
Oh,
for
sorry,
some reason.
Ryan, you'll
All
probably-
right, nice job, Mike. 5 points as you setting a nice pace here to get us started on the trivia challenge. You can jump on board at 954-417-0070, 954-417-0070. Well, we should have sent Jersey Kyle out there with a box of Perdomos, no, to pass out in the
Yes,
clubhouse
yes.
to the hot, looking babes, and they're smoking cigars too out there in California. That would have been nice.
As a matter of fact, a friend of mine went to Del Mar, and he said they wouldn't allow him to smoke a cigar in a certain area. So
Is that
I don't
right?
even know if he could have smoked one inside.
Yeah, it is California,
yeah. But yeah, you don't have to go to California to get a Perdomo cigar. 5150 Northwest 167th Street on the Palmetto on the south side, a little east of the Home Depot. I'll be going there a little after the show, as a matter of fact. I'm going to pick up a couple Perdomo cigars for the weekend, and I will use one Monday. Actually Friday. I'll be doing a Beat the Broadcaster at Bonaventure for the Knights of Columbus for St. Catherine of Drexel right there. I did one actually Monday this week. We raised $71,000 for St. Jude's here.
Wow.
And that was our 21st year, and it brings our total for St. Jude's up to $982,000 raised.
That was all on a Beat the Broadcaster?
Yeah, well, no, on the tournament.
Okay.
I raised $2,000 at $20 a pop, and every
Beautiful.
penny went to St. Jude's, unlike some of the other tournaments I do where I actually make a buck.
All
But
right.
Great cause. Doctor was there and everything. But back to Perdomo, 305-627-6700, the number to call. 5150 Northwest 167th Street, the place to go. And this weekend, Thursday, is actually Friday, first day of Del Mar. Race 6 is the first Breeders' Cup race, the Juvenile Turf Sprint. I'm going to bet $20, and I'll put Lenny and Ron in this for our money that we have left on a $1 exacta box, 1, 7, 8, 11, 12, with the big favorite in that race coming from Japan, Ikoro Sieg at 7-2. Looks awfully tough, but some bombers. I got Luis Saez on the 1 at 20-1. I got Irad on a 30-1 shot, and Dettori on an 8-1 shot, all a part of that box, along with Ryan Moore. So 1, 7, 8, 11, 12, race 6, $20 bet. And whether you win or lose, put something great in your mouth with a cigar from Perdomo Cigars.
This is your kind of game, too, because you're great with these bombs. Now we're awaiting the return of when Mike Louie Lubitz, so we can get back into the game here, which, always helps to have the guy that's answering the phones be a part of it.
By the way, I was a first baseman until I was 30 years old, playing back in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And the play between the pitcher and Rizzo was completely unexcusable. And everybody, and I heard some of the guys second guessing Rizzo on the play. Absolutely not. All pitcher.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, he's making a move towards first base. When I saw it originally, I was thinking, wait a minute, how come the pitcher's not covering first base?
Right.
I mean, he must have fallen down or something towards third base after he threw the pitch. That'd be the only reason. And yet he's running over there like he's going to cover the bag, and then he just stops. And you could see Rizzo really didn't have much choice on that except to back up a little bit. It's one of those squibbers, and he's looking to make the throw, and you just allow a run to score. And how significant was that in the end? I mean, all of those plays that were bogus. Judge just made a sensational catch in center field, and then he drops a routine line drive. He's looking at the runner. You could see his eyes kind of shift off there. And the throw from Volpe to Jazz Chisholm, tragic, right? He's got the guy nailed at third base and is in good shape. So you can't give a team like that 6 outs, right? That would be a cliche, and expect to win a ball game. And still they take the lead and end up losing, which what was remarkable about that. So, yeah, pretty wild. I thought the Yankees had a chance maybe to at least – it certainly looked like they were going to go back to L.A. for Game 6, where you never know what's going to happen. They always talk about who the pressure is on. The pressure's on both teams in every game, because the Dodgers don't want to let these guys escape. Yes, they have a few more swings at it, but that would have been very, very intriguing to see what happened if they got back to a Game 6 in Los Angeles with the Dodgers pitching in somewhat disarray, having to go to the bullpen very early in that game. But, wow. Could you blunder? How about Aaron Boone, too? I mean, they wasted no time in the postgame asking him if he felt his job was safe. That would be the big lament, I think, for Yankee fans, though, is you can't fire Aaron Boone after he takes a team to the World Series, can you? I mean,
you
really
can't?
let him
what
go?
about, let's go back to 1964 when Yogi Berra got fired after losing to the Cardinals, and then they hired Johnny Keane from the Cardinals. So Yogi refused to go to the Old Timers game till a long time after that.
He had every reason to feel insulted.
This might be the first World Series where I actually watched every game start to finish.
Oh, yeah?
And to me, it was terrific.
It was enjoyable. I would have liked to have seen it become contentious with a Yankee win just to see more baseball at a high level. Ohtani clearly, after the shoulder injury, was not necessarily the same guy. Looked like he kept running off,
Right.
like he had serious impairment there. And then the Judge thing, everybody's going to be talking about how he soiled his legacy here with another poor postseason performance. It is wild. I mean, he did he not tail off the last couple of weeks of the regular season,
He
Aaron
did.
Judge?
He did. He did.
Yeah.
But Ohtani, you hit it on the head with Ohtani. Every time he came up, or every time after his at bat, you could see him grasping that shoulder.
Yeah.
And you knew he wasn't what he used to be. Yeah.
But I'll tell you who is what he used to be. That's Mike Lubie Lubitz.
All right.
Sorry, let me get the guy back on the line.
And he's no longer a frozen fish stick.
The internet shut down, and then I turned on the hotspot, and it said, "You're getting hacked." I'm like, getting hacked? I'm like, why would they hack me? That's a waste of their time.
Go to the free throw line and sink two. Make them pay for it.
Let me get our player back on the line. Sorry about that.
All right, no problem. All right, this is a trivia challenge. A couple of minutes, too, where we're going to have Tony Segreto with Old School. And special guest today is scheduled to join us is Bucky fucking Dent.
Wow.
Yeah. That's always nice. Tony and Bucky have been friends forever, and they do a lot of stuff together. So who better to comment on the situation with the Yankees than the former Yankee star? Where would you place this Bucky Dent home run in terms of home runs in history that are famous? Does it make the top 10?
Put, maybe Mazeroski first, then Joe
Mazeroski
Carter.
be number one for me forever.
Maybe a dead heat between him and Joe Carter. Joe Carter off Mitch Williams to beat the Phillies. But the one I remember is Aaron fucking Boone in 2003. That Saturday, or that Sunday, I beg your pardon, the Patriots were down here playing the Dolphins. They beat the Dolphins. The Red Sox, the Jets were playing the Dolphins, and they were going to stay over to play for the Super Bowl. And then what happened, or for the 7th game of the World Series, and then what happened is Boone wins it, and the Red Sox go home. They were down here, and they were ready to stay here for the Marlins World Series game in 2003.
Yep. Unbelievable. All right, we're ready for our next player. This could be our last player here. It's an abbreviated version of the program. So let's fire off our next set of questions.
Okay, here we go. College hoops. This longtime Marquette coach on his relationship with the press said, I was losing. When I was losing, they called me nuts. When I was winning, they called me eccentric. Our buddy, the late Al McGuire, Mark McGuire, Frank McGuire, or the Molly McGuires.
Roll it, Lubie. All right, the scrambler's not frozen. And Anthony, you're on the trivia challenge. Good morning, Anthony.
Morning, all you happy people.
A is correct. Way to go. Nice job, Anthony.
All right, Anthony, let's go back to a World Series question for you. Who had the most career games in World Series play as a designated hitter during their career? Harold Baines, Paul Molitor, Reggie Jackson, or Lonnie Smith?
A lot of World Series DH questions here.
Molitor.
No, it was for the Cardinals most of the time. Lonnie Smith had 9 games as a DH.
All right. Did we miss a true-false question? Did I miss something here? Yeah.
Feeding him the true-false?
Did I miss the true-false?
Feed him a true-false. We'll go back to a one-pointer.
True-false question right now.
Yeah.
Baseball. Lou Brock invested in all sorts of business opportunities from a sporting goods store, including the Brockabella, which was an umbrella that you could wear on your head. True or false?
That sounds ridiculous, but it sounds true.
True.
It was true.
True. Wow.
Brock umbrella. Yeah, he put it right on the back of his head.
Didn't he have a lot of floral interests? He had like flower shops, didn't he, Lou Brock? That was one of his things?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
All right. Now, did we get this 3-pointer? What happened with that?
We got that one done. Now we're going to the 5-pointer.
So he has 2 points.
Okay, only two going for 7 here. Here we go.
Out of order. All right. And back to horse racing. On this day in sports, in 1987, this jockey became the first rider to win 9 races in a day, 5 at Aqueduct and 4 at the Meadowlands. Who was it? Was it Angel Cordero, Chris Antley, Chris McCarron, or Stevie Cawthon?
Let's see. Let's go with B.
B.
That's right. Chris Anthony.
Nice.
There you go.
And you're going to be
All right, so Anthony has 7, Mike has 5. We're going to square them off for the championship here because we lost a little time there while we lost Lubie into cyberspace. Dave, once again, Perdomo Cigars.
305-627-6700. I'm going to go there today. 5150 Northwest 167th Street, right off the Palmetto, a little bit east of the Home Depot. And you'll see the big Perdomo sign. They're open Monday through Friday. You want a cigar Saturday? Any retailer or tobacconist near you will have Perdomo cigars. It's Breeders' Cup. Great time to celebrate. And if you're a Dodgers fan, celebrate. If you're a Yankee fan, commiserate with a Perdomo cigar. Put something great in your mouth with a cigar from Perdomo Cigars.
All right, we're going to attempt to match up Mike and Anthony here for the championship of this week's edition of the Trivia Challenge. And then coming up shortly, we have Tony Segreto, hopefully connecting with Bucky Dent. A lot of activity here on the program, and especially with some technical interference, it makes it a little bit more of a challenge. But anyway, we're ready to go for the finals here. Good luck, gentlemen. Dave's going to fire for a question. Call out your name if you want to answer right away. Nobody answers right away. We'll offer multiple choice. First person to call out his name gets first choice. We go back and forth till we have a winner. Good luck for the championship of this week's edition of the Trivia Challengers, Dave.
All right, another Breeders' Cup question. In the Breeders' Cup, this is the only horse to win 3 different Breeders' Cup races, and 2 of them, actually to win 2 different Breeders' Cup races, but win 3 races altogether. So this horse is the only one to win 1 race twice and another one once. 3 total victories in Breeders' Cup. Was it Zenyatta, Beholder, Secret Circle, or Stephanie's Kitten?
Wow.
Mike,
What do you got, Mike?
Secret.
Stephanie's Secret. Incorrect.
I said Secret Circle. No.
Secret Circle.
Was it Zenyatta, Beholder, or Stephanie's Kitten?
Kit. That's it.
You're up, Anthony.
Anthony.
Anthony
Beholder. That's what I would have said.
That's right.
Yes.
Won the Juvenile Philly in 2012 and then the Distaff in 13 and 16.
Congrats,
Well done, Anthony.
You get a Landlubber gift card.
Very sharp player, yeah. And I don't recall Anthony playing before
Ever.
in the new format here. Or maybe even ever. I'm not sure if he was a veteran of the radio show.
And Bucky Dent was calling me incessantly. So let me call him.
I can't get the link to work. All right, Dave, always a pleasure. Good luck with your Breeders' Cup and that 5-horse box. Let's hope it comes in and pays giant boxcar numbers. Thanks for being with us. Dave Gurggles Gergely, ladies and gentlemen.
See you next week.
All right, we're going to take a brief time out, come back hopefully with Tony Segreto. There's Tony. We got Tony worked out, and Bucky Dent as well. And we'll be back with all of that as Lubie tries to set it up in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:34.
Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
What we gonna do right here is go back, way back into time.
We are now kicking it old school with the one and only Tony Segreto. Brought to you by Texas Roadhouse.
Back to the show. Good to be with you. We had to juxtapose some things this week to accommodate the great Tony Segreto's schedule, and also to be able to bring you the thoughts of this gentleman that we're going to let Tony introduce. Tony, first of all, how are you, my friend?
I'm fine. Defo, how are you? And Lubie, good morning.
We're doing well. We're very excited about this, especially in light of the fact that the World Series finished up last night. Lubie was speculating that maybe with his attachment to the New York Yankees and, of course, being a part of Yankee, it wasn't really postseason fame, but concluding a regular season there in, 1978. The fabled Bucky fucking Den home run, where we were wondering if that was going to have an emotional impact, the fact that the Yankees lost last night in such a horrible fashion. But he is going to join us. So, Tony, I'll let you make the introduction. You've known this gentleman for a long, long time.
Bucky, you on the air?
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Okay, buddy, how are you doing? How are you doing today?
Oh, God, was that hard to watch? Oh, my Lord.
Appreciate you still joining us, Bucky.
Yeah, thanks for getting up and taking part in this Yankee hammering.
We were there Monday night, too, and oh, Lord, that was a tough game. I mean, Freeman took the crowd right out of it in the first inning, but, yeah, that was a tough one to stomach last night.
Bucky, you've been through so many games and you've seen so many things. What was it that was just not clicking for the Yankees?
Well, I think it started in game one, when Boone took out Cole, with 88 pitches, and then they brought in a guy that had pitched in 38 days. It kind of flattened them out right after that, the grand slam. The next couple of games, they were like, it kind of carried over, like sleepwalking. But then they got some momentum, the other night when they pounded the Dodgers, they came back, and then you think, okay, they got their groove back, and then to go out last night and put up 5 with their number one guy on the mound. And then it all happened. Fundamentally breakdown of playing a game of baseball, and it caught up to them. All year, if you've been watching the Yankees, they've made a lot of fundamental mistakes, base running, just doing things. And those things are going to catch up to you if you don't address them, and they're going to beat you against great teams. And the Dodgers showed that. You cannot give a team like the Los Angeles Dodgers 4 and 5 outs in an inning.
Yeah, the fifth inning.
Yes, that was a disaster. Yes,
fifth inning.
Basic mistakes, one after another. It was amazing to see.
Well, okay, Judge dropping a fly ball. Volpe made it. He had a tough play as a shortstop. I was telling my wife this morning, as a shortstop, going to your right in the hole and trying to throw a ball to third base with the runner bearing down on third baseman, that's a tough play. Okay, I can handle that one, but not to get off the mound and cover first base. You start with that in spring training. You got to get over there no matter what. Those kind of things. They cannot happen. And it happened. Started with a fly ball, and all of a sudden you could feel like, And then Cole made some great pitches, and then it just broke open. He had a long inning in the 5th inning, and it just took over from there.
Bucky Dent, guesting with us here on the program. Naturally, it came up, and I guess some Yankee fans might be depressed because Aaron Boone, they love to cry about Aaron Boone and how buffoon-like he is and all the mistakes he makes. And you pointed out a couple of things in game number 1 that certainly were questionable. But it's weird because they would be unhappy they made the World Series because they can't fire Aaron Boone. And it shows you how fickle this game is. I mean, you're only as good as your last film. That was one of the first questions to him. Is he going to keep his job?
Oh, geez.
What is your thought about Aaron Boone? I mean, he seems like a very likable guy. Somebody that you would be rooting for. He obviously has a place like you do in Yankee history with a big hit. What did you think about the job he did for the Yankees the last several years, and should he come back?
Well, I can only account for what George Steinbrenner. When I played for a great owner, and George, you knew the ground rules when you went to play for the New York Yankees, and we won 103 games in 1980 and got swept by the Kansas City Royals. And the guy, Dick Hauser, was one of my favorite managers, played for in New York, and he got fired. So, there's accountability from everybody. You know, you haven't been there but one time in I don't know how many years since, you know, since 2009, 15 years, you haven't been in the World Series, you know, and I think, you know, they got some tough decisions. You know, Hal Steinbrenner's got some big decisions to make, you know, going into this winter.
We're talking to one and only Bucky, the New York Yankee great, and also once a New York Yankee manager. Our friend Anthony is watching us, and he's been watching the Bronx Zoo, which was true to the title. Anyone who did see that in your season managing the Yankees, he's curious, as you both played under Steinbrenner, George Steinbrenner as an owner, and then managed under George Steinbrenner. How was it different playing and then managing under him? And then just how was it managing under him, as you just said, like you could have a great year, but still be fired?
The bottom line with George Steinbrenner was winning. He didn't want no excuses. He didn't want to hear any excuses. He demanded you play the game the right way. And the bottom line was winning. When I got traded over there in 77, you know, and the Bronx is burning and all that kind of stuff, you know, it was a little chaotic, but I was joining a team just came out of the World Series that, you know, just got swept by the Cincinnati Reds. And it was a little chaotic, but the teams that I played on in New York, we had guys that were characters that had character. So whatever happened off the field never affected them when they went between the lines. You know, they had a true grit and toughness about them, you know, that, you know, we were going to overcome anything, you know. And I made a comment the other night on MLB that, you know, whatever, you know, we weren't picked to win the World Series. We started off really bad in 78, and we weren't picked to win the division. Then we, you know, go into a one-game playoff. We weren't picked to beat Boston in Boston. We weren't picked to beat the Kansas City Royals. We went 0-2 against the Dodgers. And on the plane ride back, Thurman, everybody was joking around in the back. You know, nobody was really uptight. We were just kind of mad. You know, that's the way that team used to get. And he said, you know what, we got to get through Friday night. We're going to beat them Friday night, and we're going to beat them 4 straight. And that's what happened. But,
wow,
you know, those were the guys that we had as far as, you know, the character guys, the tough guys. You know, when you talk about Pinella and Nettles and Munson and guys like that, they were mentally tough, you know, and you played the game. And the one thing I've always said is the manager doesn't have to always be the bad guy. You know, the captain or, you know, guys on the team, if you made a mental mistake or you did something wrong, they would come up and say something to you. So, you know, but under George, I loved playing under George. I liked managing under George. I have nothing to say about that. You know, I didn't get a very long time because I had 4 general managers in probably the 6 months that I played there. Jeez. But, you know, I wouldn't there you go. You know, I had 4 managers and general managers in like 6 months, you know, so, wow. But I got fired in 90 and, you know, but I wouldn't say anything bad about him. He was, you know, like I said, the ground rules when you play or manage for him.
Well, Bucky, you know, it was great to have you on, and best of luck to you. And, you know, it's always great to talk to you on the air, and it's great to reminisce off the air too.
Oh man, thanks for having me on. And, you know, this was a tough one to swallow, but, you know, hopefully they'll do some things over the winter and make some good changes, and they'll be right back at it next year.
What changes do you think they have to make?
Well, I don't know. You know, they got a lot of decisions. The first one's going to be, you know, the Sosa. You know, I mean, are they going to try and sign him? So they got some decisions to make, and you know, it's going to be interesting to see what they do.
Before we let you go, I'm just curious. The guy who had big moments. What do you put on Aaron Judge? Like, I get it, he broke out last night, but it almost felt a little too late. Yeah, I get it. They're up 5-0. They win the game. It's 3-2. But where was he all playoffs? Like, as a guy who did it on that stage, what do you think is with him? Because this is sort of, if you don't want to call it a trend, you can call it whatever you want, but it consistently, he tends to struggle in the playoffs.
Yeah, sometimes you put pressure on yourself. I remember back in 81 in the World Series, you know, Dave Winfield got off to a really bad start. I think he was like 1 for 20-something, 21 or something like that, you know. So it happens, you know. I've always said, you know, streaks follow streaks. You know, a guy could be rolling along, and then all of a sudden, you get into a little bit of a spell where you're struggling at the plate and you're trying to find yourself. But Judge is a great player. He's been a great player. He's going to be a great player. Look, Tony had some, shoulder issues, but he didn't really beat the whole World Series up either. So, but that happens, and great players find a way, and he's going to be okay. He's the captain, and he's got a lot of class to him, and he's going to be all right.
Speaking of class, Bucky Dent, he classy as it comes. Thanks, Bucky.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks for having me on.
All right,
Talk
Bucky.
to you later.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Bucky.
It was a pleasure there. All right, Tony, you did it. Now, you kind of we got rid of him there a little early, though. No,
Yes,
Tony,
too much.
did he have to go or something? No, what was happening? we had more questions for this guy. But,
You can ask them.
well, I mean, there were so many things there. I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's tough for him to comment about a manager possibly getting fired. That's interesting because Boone, the team has an option to pick him up for 2025. His contract is actually over, so it's team option if they want to have him return. I don't know. I mean, sometimes people always ask the question. The Yankee fans have been screaming about this guy forever. I think you've been among them, no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They think he's an atrocious manager, in-game manager. He may
I
be great at administrating, and legislating problems that happen with players or whatever, keeping the peace inside the clubhouse. But
I can't
as a
get a
game,
read on him. I can't get a read because he's a nice guy. He gets along with his players. Maybe that's it. Maybe he just gets along with his players too well.
well, and the criticisms have been widespread and covering a variety of different areas that you would want a manager to be good at, including mismanagement of the bullpen. You have the worst fundamental base running team in baseball by far were the Yankees. And then if you look at what happens, like Bucky Dent was saying, what do you see pitchers do in spring training? Virtually nothing, right? They line the ball here and there, but then they always have them doing that drill where they roll one to the first baseman and they have to go over and cover first, and that's like your standard spring training shot. So they're working on this forever. I thought that Cole had fallen down or something. That he maybe fell off awkwardly to the right. And was out of position to go cover first base, but he's running there and he stops.
It was the worst fundamental inning in history, I think.
Pretty weak, yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, you can sort of, like Bucky said, excuse away a tough throw with a runner bearing down on the third baseman, and Volpe ends up bouncing a ball to Chisholm, who seemed to have his view of the ball blocked a little bit by the runner. You see Judge just his eyes, actually, they had a good close-up. His eyes roll towards where the runner is before he catches the ball. And do you ever do that, Tony, when you were playing, where you actually have the glove block your vision of where the ball is?
I feel for those guys because, Bucky and I and Andre Dawson, we've been through it. We've been through the wars. And you feel for them because a mistake is a mistake, and everybody makes them. And you cover your eyes and go, "Don't tell me it happened! Don't tell me it happened!"
Oh my God,
that was wild to see that happen. And he still nearly had a chance to get the guy at second base because obviously the runner's returning back to first base, thinking that this is a routine line drive getting caught.
Volpe's throw to third, but my God.
And that was his only play on that ball, too. I don't think he gets the guy at second. He's going to his right. And there was no time to get a guy going to first base, but he has a clear shot at the runner going to third and blows that. Wow, I mean, unbelievable. And then they rally. To the Dodgers' credit, they cashed it in, whereas the Yankees, I don't know, how many guys did they leave on base in this game? Seemed like every inning, especially early on when they were still up 5-0 and everybody was thinking, oh, good.
They could have put it away.
Yeah, they had many chances with bases loaded, and they had bases loaded, 1 out, and they couldn't score another run.
Nope.
And then they take the lead, and that's the second time they've opened up a 1-run lead late in the ball game and been unable to hold it. So it's over. My buddy cashes a ticket for $90,000 on a $100 wager, and is now alive with the Ravens to win the Super Bowl. A $50 wager, 5-way parlay. If the Ravens win the Super Bowl, $480,000 is the payoff.
Oh my God!
You imagine it?
You have
got to
Well,
be
I mean,
pissed.
that's like hitting a Breeders' Cup pick six or something. That's insane
My
with a
God,
$2 ticket.
my God.
That's crazy. Yeah. So we're rooting for the Ravens now. Although, of course, as soon as it looked like the Dodgers were in a commanding position in the World Series, and he was going to cash this ticket and have the other one come alive, the Ravens go and lose to Jameis Winston and the Cleveland Browns. All right, a couple of local things here, Tony. Hurricanes and Duke. Cristobal versus Diaz. Former
Yeah,
Miami coach, now doing a decent job at Duke. He has them as a very competitive team. They went to the wall against SMU last week, and prior to that, what were they undefeated or 6-1, something like that? So
Duke's always tough.
very quietly, he's at least been winning games with Duke. Manny Diaz and Cristobal now with a chance to go to 8-0. Tony, what do you think?
They will go to 8-0 because I think the players want to win this for Mario, and Mario wants to win it for the players. I just think that going into this game, it's got the makings of a great game, and Miami comes out and wins it.
All right, but the bigger question would be, did they win it by 3 touchdowns, Tony? Which the line is 20 and a hook. 20
Oh, look at that.
and a hook.
Yeah, exactly. No.
What do you think? Well, you lay 3 touchdowns with the Canes, and then the other thing that's going on with a big point spread is Georgia and Florida in the world's largest cocktail party. Did you cover any of those games? Have you ever attended?
Oh, yeah.
You have, yeah.
They just
What did you hang out in a parking lot? I would imagine you went straight to the press box. No,
straight to the press box.
What kind of Lubie? Did you ever go to one of these things? Just you did. Okay, how was it?
I didn't get into the actual game because
who cares?
It
about
was
the
so
game,
fun. Like I was a college student and I didn't have a horse in the race, so it was great to just watch Georgia fans. And as a heterosexual male, the Georgia following is very strong, and the way they dress is like it's fucking church Sunday. So it's actually interesting.
Oh yeah.
By the time games start in Tallahassee, we're so annihilated. You're lucky you have clothes on. Like the Georgia fans, the guys are in khakis and a button down, and the women are in these sundresses.
Wow.
And they're all drinking. I mean, they're Southerners, but they have like a class to them. And then the Florida fans are the jean shorts is a real thing, and it's just it's always around Halloween. So like the Saturday night at the landings, or actually the Friday before the game at the landings is like a big. That's why people who talk shit about Jacksonville, I don't have that opinion because I went as a college student, Georgia, Florida weekend. So it was the greatest play. The landings.
What I can remember.
Women everywhere. It's like the greatest thing ever. Like for a heterosexual college male, I didn't like either team, and I became a fan of both teams that fucking weekend. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I'd imagine the sightseeing on the University of Florida campus is very good.
Bad.
Yeah,
sightseeing on every campus is good.
The Georgia, you don't think about it being in South Florida. It's strong.
yeah. Georgia heavily favored in that game, 16 and a hook. Not that heavily favored. Not as heavily favored as Miami is over Duke. Of course, the big one.
I wouldn't touch that game. I would not touch that game at all.
I agree.
I don't know what to make of the Gators. I guess they showed signs of life, but at the same time, it's not exactly a stellar season, and it seems like the direction, at least of the narrative, was that Napier gone after this year, which opens up a lot of possibilities.
The problem for Florida is they're actually playing better, so Napier may not be gone.
Yeah.
He's doing a better job than Norvell this year by a lot, with a lot less to deal with and a much harder schedule. The problem is they have a true freshman quarterback playing, and he's playing well.
Yeah.
But a true freshman quarterback against Georgia with Kirby Smart would scare the living crap out of me. And Georgia's trying to play ball. They're starting to play like Georgia again. I don't know. I think I wouldn't touch the Kane Duke game, but I think Georgia may cover that game. And it's not my bias. I mean, they're playing good defensively, and Lagway's a true freshman.
I think Georgia will destroy them.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people share that opinion there, Tony, which 16 and a half seems like a lot to lay. I probably would be inclined to take the points with Duke.
Oh, Duke.
They've been competitive. So 3 touchdowns, Mario Cristobal, you factor in the Cristobal factor, and that's probably worth 7 points a game in game day decisions. So as a handicapper, you're thinking, all right, that actually gives me like 27 in a hook.
Yeah, it gives you like a 30-point.
No, Rose asks me after the show every day. When she comes home, she says, "How was the show today?" And I go, "We just laughed."
That's the name of the game here, Tony.
Yeah. That's talking, sort of.
It's entertainment, my friend. That's people that think that they're seriously going to solve the problems of the sporting world by analyzing things into its ultimate minutia, and then start screaming about it. I never got that. I know it's in vogue right now. Right, you got like Stephen A. Smith, and he's got Chris Russo on. And they actually have like a scream off.
It is a scream off.
What about like who was a better quarterback, Lamar Jackson or John Elway? I don't know. I mean, come on, what the fuck is that? We used to have to do this, though. I mean, you would feel these calls. My shows never tended to go in those directions. Yeah, I couldn't deal with it. It was too much. But I don't root for guys to get fired. I mean, Aaron Boone, he seems like a genuinely decent guy. I'm not a big enough Yankee fan to have observed all of the atrocities that are always alluded to whenever you see any fans' analysis of the Yankee game, and they point a finger right at Boone, no matter what happened. I mean, he did not drop this line drive. That's the other argument. Although I do feel he was somewhat responsible for the loss in Game 1. That it shouldn't have gotten to Nestor Cortez. You even heard Bucky. That's the first thing he mentioned. It was like, a guy hasn't pitched in 38 days.
38 days.
And you're going to bring him in to pitch to Freeman? Get the fuck out of here.
Oh my God.
I'll hit against him.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Came back in the next game and wasn't bad.
Yeah,
so you just never know. I mean, there are a lot of intangible factors, like how a guy is feeling that day and whether or not he has his good stuff. Look at Flaherty. First game, he was excellent. And then they were tattooing the ball. It was batting practice. Literally, they were beating this guy to death. And it looked like it was going to be a runaway. I just texted a friend, this is going 7 before that 5th inning.
Yeah, me too. I texted my daughter. I said, this will go 7.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, what are you thinking about? The first thing that pops in your head when I say Texas Roadhouse, Tony Segreto, is
the bread.
The bread.
Really? We go right to the bread. Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, chronologically, that would be a good thing.
I saw a video on TikTok, and they didn't even say the company in it. Again, the TikTok's great about this because it has nothing to do with Roadhouse. It's just people. But you could see the onion thing they have, and they just showed a baby. And they're like, when you get that bread. And I thought I heard Tony in the background.
Yeah.
And like, there's a baby just pounding bread. I'm like, Roadhouse.
Your ancestors must have owned a bakery or something in Italy, because the way no one sells bread like you do. Yeah.
It's funny you say that. My wife's grandfather owned a sausage store in Mount Clemens, Michigan.
Makes sense.
There you go.
Yeah, your fascination with sausages there at Delaware Seafood Market or Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. You were pressed to the screen like a kid going to Baskin Robbins for the first time when they first expanded the 30 flavors.
The sausage they have there is incredible.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, good for a barbecue. All right, what are you doing? Are you dressing up as anything for Halloween, Tony?
No.
Yeah, I'm going as Tony Segreto.
Will you entertain any trick-or-treaters at your home, do you think?
I don't think so. You know, my wife and I were talking about it last night. We lived in our house for 25 years.
Yeah.
And if we had 10 trick-or-treaters in the 25 years, yeah.
As it should be.
Because it was a dark street, and now here, you know, I don't know. I don't know if we'll have any. I got candy ready.
Oh yeah, you do? Okay. So yeah, I end up eating it. Those little Reese's peanut butter cups. I'll
God,
with a fistful by the end of next week. Every day.
Maybe I'll bring some tomorrow.
No kid has ever shown up at this house. I mean, there are 2 kids that live in the complex that I see every now and then, nearly mow them down with my car. And no kid has ever knocked on the door here. So hopefully that trend will continue tonight. We wouldn't answer the door anyway. I never answer the door for anyone. Not even the cleaning ladies come. We don't answer the
lights
off. You going down there? Yeah.
You turn the lights off. Yeah, like
shades closed. They see you closing the shade. I just don't want to see anybody anymore, Tony.
They're you know, you got a name now. There's old Jeff DeForest.
Old Jeff
That
DeForest,
crotchety
there you go.
old guy. He doesn't shut. Yeah.
Oh no, I it's not like I'm crotchety. I don't want to deal with it at all. You know, that's my
That's the
whole
same thing.
my new MO. Yeah, I mean,
Isn't that the same thing?
just leave me alone, and I'll be happy to leave you alone. That'll be done. All right, Tony. Will we see you tomorrow? You're going to be out at the stream?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. All right, that'll be excellent. All right, Tony, great job bringing Bucky Dent into the program. That was a lot of fun. And Lubie, of course, always a pleasure.
Love you, Tony.
We will see you guys later on. That was Tony Segreto, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by Texas Roadhouse Restaurants. He goes for the bread. I go for the bone and ribeye, Lubie. That would be my.
I eat like a bread, but then like the food's really good. I don't.
Yeah, I don't like slobbering down too much of the bread. But it's great. I mean,
It's
no
great.
doubt. Yeah.
It's too easy to fill up on it. That's the problem. Like,
You know, when a place is known for that, they have like great rolls. I tell you, Beverly Hills Cafe was
Beverly
always my
Hills
favorite.
Cafe is the move. Yep.
And a place that also does a good job at that is J Marks. J Marks. They come out there, and the rolls are usually warm, and the butter just melts right in there. Fantastic. And of course, you can't beat the biscuits at Patch, but that's a different sort of category, I think, than breads or rolls or anything along those lines. All right, Lubie, you have a good time. And I got a re-rack of a Mayo Lunchbox show today from
Anthony's
a previous afternoon edition. Anthony's Runway 84, always a festive time. What did you have there, Lubie? Did you have anything?
They brought out the same stuff. They brought out a steak, that
Yeah.
cauliflower pasta thing.
Oh, that's
meatballs,
nice. Yeah, yeah.
pony, and a fish dish.
All right. Sounds good.
Oh, good.
Did you manage to accompany that for the fridge?
There was some leftovers, but it wasn't like last time.
Oh,
Castro
really?
was there, and he actually ate like a person. Anthony actually ate a little bit. Mark Falsetto ate. Like people actually ate this time.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't like boxes and boxes.
All right. Well, it probably was good that I didn't make it. All right. Yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in as we leave you know that.
The time.
It's 9:03.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.